Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Today I am doing some eggs in lime and salt. It's an old method that I have in a book that my mother-in-law bought me for my birthday. So I'm going to be trying it. Not going to be giving a whole lot of details and information on it, but I'm going to date it and then I will pull them back out and we'll see if this method works. It also has some really unique ways to preserve eggs, and I'm going to also give those a test try too and see what they do. So I have these old containers that was storage containers for like flour or cookies or something like that. The little rubber seals are messed up on them. I do not have any Crocs. That would be absolutely ideal. I do have to go grab a few more eggs out the chicken coop, but my refrigerator is full of eggs. The counter was full of eggs. So these eggs were not washed. They were just collected from the chicken coop and brought inside and then stacked in the jars. And surprisingly, if you look it up online, when people water glass eggs, that is actually done with a concrete sealer, is what is called water glassing eggs, and this is the actual using the pickling lime method, which is a little bit different. I do have to say, I did go out and buy me some of that other sealant and thought about the harsh chemicals of using concrete sealer to seal my eggs, and I said no, now we just have some concrete sealer. I had bought it a couple of years ago, very hesitant on using it for preserving eggs since the chemical will be on the outside of the egg. So I'm going to go with the all natural pickling lime method because it is an all natural ingredient. So I feel much better about using it and safer about using it. So I'm going to try that method and see what happens, and I will date my jars, and then in about 6 to 8 months we will crack them open and see if they are any good. Going to see if I can do this with one hand. This is the Still Room Cookery. It is a very old book. My mother-in-law found it up north, I believe at a flea market or some kind of antique shop, something like that. She sent it to me for my 50th birthday. It has some really unique old ways of doing things. I was just as surprised as she was that I did not have this particular book on my shelf. Well, I have it now, and I am so thankful and blessed. I have learned so much already from this little book. So this is the method. It says to use the lime, to put the lime in a bowl. No, I said that totally wrong. Put the lime about the size of a lemon into a large pot like we have here, and put 2 teacupfuls of salt. Bring it to a boil and cool it completely. And after it cools off completely, then you're going to pour it over your eggs and then seal the eggs. Now my jars are missing the little seals around them. I'm going to order some more because these jars are really old. But for now I'm just going to do another little method until I get my lids in, the little bands. I'm going to put, after it completely cools off, I'm going to pour some cooking oil on top, and that will make a barrier. Also keeps fungus from growing, and also keeps anything from getting in there. Even though the jars will seal, I probably will still like put a Ziploc bag or something between the layers, but whenever I get my seals in, then I will put the seals on. But in the meantime, I'm going to just, after I fill it up, I'm going to put some vegetable oil on top, and that will make a seal on top of the eggs. So that's all it really says, is to let it cool off completely, and then you will have eggs come spring until the chickens start laying again. There was another very interesting method. I'm going to share that too. If I can do this with one hand. They layered the eggs in salt. They actually put the eggs in a pot and brought them to a boil for just about 30 seconds. pulled them out real quick, let them cool off, and then they stacked them in a crock, like a stoneware crock, and they put a layer of eggs, a layer of salt, a layer of eggs, a layer of salt, and I'm suspecting that maybe this was plain salt, not iodine salt. Not really sure about that, but that's another cool method. And I have heard of another method that they said where you can cover your eggs with lard and just put them back into the carton and set them in a cool spot, and they'll stay fresh that way. And there was also a another really unique way of doing it that I thought was really cool. And you know, these are the old ways, and this is how they made it through all the hard times, all the depressions and all that stuff. I'm willing to give it a try. I have eggs coming out my ears, so I really don't have anything to lose and everything to gain. But this other method was, the lady is telling a story of different ways that people preserve the eggs. Another way was they melted paraffin wax, and then they dipped the eggs in that. I guess kind of like you would dye Easter eggs, but you dip it in the wax and let them cool, and then you store them in a nice cool place as well. And the other method was they stored them in sawdust and layered it and kept it in a cool place. Now, I'm imagining this was probably from up north where y'all's summers are a lot milder than ours, and they kept it in their still room and also in the root cellars. So we don't have root cellars here, but if I set it directly on the concrete floor in a spot that stays pretty cool, I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, this method will work. But I know the water glass method works. Well, we call it water glass method. It's not actually that. It's actually just liming the eggs. Okay, and this has come to a boil, so let me go ahead and cut that off. But what I was saying is a lot of people just mix the lime straight into the water and stir it up, and then you sometimes see the lime settling to the bottom. I've heard people have great success with that method, but for me personally, since I'm bringing the water to a boil and activating the lime like you would do when you make pickles, now it's not going to pickle your eggs because there's no vinegar in here, but my thinking is it would be better mixed and incorporated together, so maybe it will help preserve the eggs even better. I'm not sure. This is just a method that I'm going to be trying today, and I just thought I would share it with y'all, so whenever I mention it again, I'll probably be pulling it out in about 6 to 8 months, unless it becomes something wrong with it before then of course y'all know, if in doubt, I'm going to throw it out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today. Just thought I would share what I'm working on today. My little rainy day project, because it is yucky and rainy here today in Louisiana. So this gives me something to do and try out new methods. I enjoy trying new methods because I'm learning different ways to preserve our food. So some people really don't understand, you know, why do you keep doing all that stuff? But for me, it's exciting trying new experiments. And if I can learn how to preserve our food and make it last better and make it safe for us to eat later on in the year, then I'm going to do whatever I can think of and try all these new methods and see if it works. So I know just simply putting lime in water, lots of people have had great success with that. So I'm going to do it this way, where you boil it and you use like they said, about the size of a lemon per quart. So that's about 2 heaping tablespoons, which is about 1 ounce of lime. And you use a teacup full of salt. I'm going to use plain salt, of course, because it's similar to decanning. You don't want to use iodine. So, and that gives you about 2/3 of a cup of salt if you were to measure an old-fashioned teacup, because this is an old book, so I did have to make some little adjustments just to try to get it as close to possible as that method as possible. So we'll see how it goes. So farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.